events overseas, the events we were talking about just before the ad break, Russia, Ukraine dominating politics here as well.
Yeah, so it was a massive weekend, and it does have reverberations all the way across to our little island on the edge of Europe. So on a couple of different fronts, events over the course of the weekend. Tomorrow there will be an opportunity for all the parties in the Dáil to set out their position on the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. There has been a lot of poking particularly from Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael benches towards those in other parties, saying, well, your record wasn't terribly strong now on the Russians. In particular, Micheál Martin's comments before Christmas, where he said Sinn Féin was soft on the Russians, which came after a Sinn Féin MEP had voted against a resolution in the European Parliament, which was condemning the Russian build-up of forces. Now, Sinn Féin would argue there were other elements to that motion. That's why he didn't vote in that direction. And the Green Party MEPs voted along the same lines. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of ribbing can go on there, given that the Green Party can also be accused of effectively the same thing, not taking a strong enough stance. So everybody setting out their position. Then the issue of the ambassador. There has been a build-up of calls for people for the ambassador to be expelled, Yuri Filtov to be expelled from Dublin, from his base in Rathmines, where people are protesting on a daily basis. A Fianna Fáil petition was followed by a Fine Gael call over the course of the weekend from backbenchers, not members of government. And Simon Coveney is saying, no, you don't cut off all communication. You need to keep somebody there. We still have people ourselves in Russia who are travelling over and back to our Irish citizens, and we need to think about them as well. And then the big European issue of the weekend was the EU deciding to give full-scale lethal weapon military aid to Ukraine to assist them in their fight against Russia. In the case of a country like Ireland, we're kind of conscientious objectors, but we're going to give them fuel and medical aid and so on. So we're going to assist the war effort without giving them guns and bullets. It's
kind of Schrodinger's neutrality, isn't it? We will give you. We are a neutral country, so we cannot entertain the idea of this kind of abhorrent taking of life. But we'll give you the fuel for your tank. Yeah, just not the shell that you'll shoot out of your tank.
We will assist you in every way, bar one which gives you a bullet or a gun. So
we'll patch you up to send you back to the front line.
Yeah,
but our European colleagues will give you the gun and the bullet you will carry to the front line.
So it does raise major questions about Ireland's traditional stance of neutrality, and a lot of people have said, well, look, really, how neutral have we been over the years? We've always been on the American side by giving them access to Shannon Airport. We've provided assistance to their military there. We've never not been on the side of the West in that regard. So this is again calling out our neutral position, going back to World War II, where we took very much. But it's funny because
the backseat in World War II was a self-preservation thing as much as anything. There was nothing we could do, and in order to kind of save ourselves, we remained neutral. There was a little part. That wasn't the only part of it, but that was a big part of it. I mean, there's no saving ourselves now.
Well, I mean, morally, we weren't seen to be standing up to dictators.
But I suppose my comparison is that if Vladimir Putin decided in retaliation to the European Union stance that he was going to kind of unleash cyber attacks or encourage the bots in his country to unleash cyber attacks, he's hardly going to say in the Kremlin somewhere, actually, can we leave the Irish outfit because they only sent fuel and bandages, they didn't actually send guns.
And we've seen already in the past year how we have been a target of attacks instigated from Russia, and Dublin would still be a target of cyber attacks, given that we are the Europe, Middle East and Asian headquarters for so many major tech companies. So if the next phase of this war is kind of a cyber war, we might well be in the firing line there anyway. So our neutrality comes into question. Also, what now is the EU? It has now very much added an added military element to it, in that the European countries are collectively in agreement providing military assistance, not individual countries going off doing it themselves, and the French, the Germans, the Belgians decide, okay, well, look, where we're doing it is up to you. This was a collective effort. There's also the calls from the Ukraine that their own accession to the EU should be fast tracked, which would again reinforce that that Russian view that Ukraine is moving west. So how will the EU respond to that, given that they've said the door is open and they're very welcome to do so? So there's a lot on the table from a geopolitical and European perspective for the government to tease out. And there have been calls for this to all be trashed out in the Dáil, and it probably should be. But it will also flush out other parties and where they stand.